So if you did pick up a Go Pack at Northeast, you'll find one of these handy papers and it will have all the instructions for these activities for you. Now at the top we have our tambourine and shaker crafts, but we're going to go over them last. First, we're going to go over activities you need zero supplies for. All you need, your voice, your hands, and your feet. So some things you can do with your child without even singing. If you're in public and you feel a little self-conscious about singing in public, you don't have any supplies at hand, these are actually great activities you can do anytime with your child, and it's a couple games. So the first one is a rhyme game. For this, you are going to start with a few simple words that rhyme. So I could say, for example, cat, hat, bat. So now you want to prompt your child and say, hey, do you know any more words that rhyme with those words? Cat, hat, bat. They could say fat, that, mat. You want to help encourage them. And what's really fun is you can even encourage them to make made-up words. Now you want to say, that's silly, that's a made-up word. But the important thing is we're not really trying to work on vocabulary here. That's a whole different video. Of course, you can often work on vocabulary while doing this, but we're not focused on that right now. What we want is to get them to recognize what makes the rhyme. So as long as they're making a sound that rhymes, bingo, you've got it. So something similar to this is the beginning sound match game, which is basically a game about alliteration. So if you remember, alliteration is matching the beginning sounds of words. So this is going to work basically just like the rhyme game, except instead of focusing on the ends of the word, we're focused on the beginning. So this should be something you can work on with your child. You can get them to understand. So I might start by saying cat, cake, car. Can you think of any words that start with that sound? Ka. And you might prompt them. If they can't think of anything, maybe point to something that you think starts with that sound. Work together and try and see if you can come up with more alliterations together. And this will help them identify that beginning part of the word and find similarities. So, if they know that these sounds all start with the same letter, then if they find a word that they know in a text that starts with the same letter as a word they find later that they don't know, they can sort of figure out, okay, it starts with that same K. Now the last one of our singing-free, material-free games is a syllable counting game. Now we are also going to get into this with our tambourine and shaker, but a syllable counting game, all you have to do is pick anything in the room around you. So I'm staring at the camera. Hey camera. So I might say, camera. How many syllables does camera have? Let's count together. So of course camera might be a little tricky. Some people say it as 2, some say it as 3. But I would say camera. So camera. And you want to count together. 1, 2, 3. Camera. We are trying to figure out how to count the syllables. So you might say, okay, my name is Mom. Mom, 1 syllable. What's your name? Maybe your name is Patrick. I'd say Patrick. That's 2 syllables, isn't it, Patrick? Patrick. So it's a really simple game and you can play it anywhere. And that way you are, as you're going different places, finding all different things that we can count the syllables in. And we'll notice then that every word is made up of syllables. They can all be broken down. And that can be really encouraging to a young reader. So now let's get into the ones that we can make. So I'm going to make the camera go down a little bit and I will show you on the table how to make these really easy tambourine and plate shaker crafts. So the plate shaker craft is one that maybe all of us made back in preschool or kindergarten. So you should be familiar with this one. You'll need 1 paper plate, a stapler. Tape could also work for this. And I recommend beans to go inside. I'm going to use beads right now because I have them right here at the table. So what you'll have your child do first is color this plate up. If they're really young, like I'd say about 3 or younger, I'd say if they're younger than 3, you should probably make this for them because it could be a choking hazard with the little things inside. Make sure you staple it really well, but 3 or 4 and up, you could help them make it. But either way, your child can decorate the back with some crayons. If you don't have some at home, come to the library and we can give you some. But after they dry, you'll fold it in half, like so. Make sure you crease on the edges. Then you'll put in your noisemakers of choice. Oops. And then we'll staple around the edges to keep them all in there. Make sure the gap between your staples are smaller than whatever you have inside. Remember, we don't want anything escaping. Okay, so once it's stapled all the way around, we can use this to shake the syllables. So your kid will have a ton of fun with this. It's super easy. You can see I made it in about a minute. And so using instruments is just a way to encourage your kid to have fun while they are counting out syllables. They can also do this to a beat in a song. Just recognizing a beat can be helpful in teaching them with syllables. So we just did the syllable game. I said we have an imaginary son named Patrick. So we could say, let's do the syllables in Patrick. Patrick. So it's fun to have something else to play with. You can't always clap. You need to do some tapping, you can do some stomping with your feet, and you can use instruments to make it fun. So use this for any sort of syllable counting. You could say America. You could say library. We're just having fun with the syllables in words. So our tambourine craft is super similar. Now this one, I don't recommend using it all with children that are under 3 because we're going to be attaching jingle bells, which kids could, if they're very strong with their grip, pull off the tambourine and it could be a choking hazard. So the label on the jingle bells recommends them for age 4 and up. So parents, use your best judgment. But for this craft, you will be taking some yarn, wrapping it around this embroidery hoop, and then tying on some jingle bells. So it's just another way to have fun. It's just another way to have fun with playing out syllables with an instrument. So you'll start by tying this around the embroidery hoop. Anywhere works, just make sure you tie it nice and tight. I like to always give it a double knot. And then we are just going to wrap it tightly around this to make it look nice and cute. Just weaving the ball in and out. Now wrapping it like that is really quite optional because it's mostly to give it a nice soft grip and look pretty for your child. The important thing is that you want to attach these jingle bells. Now they will stay on better if you have that yarn wrapped because you can go between sections of yarn and sort of tie it in there so they're not going to get at the knots. But let me show you how to attach the jingle bells. And I'll just do that to mine. You'll cut a small piece, thread it through the top of the jingle bell. They have these little loops up at the top. So you'll pull it through till the jingle bell is about the middle. Take your embroidery hoop, find where you want the jingle bell to go, and then you're just going to tie it on with a nice double knot. And if you want to make it a more traditional tambourine, I recommend tying it on the outside. So here's my hastily made tambourine. So it doesn't have the yarn wrapped around it just because I think you can figure that out, but I just wanted to show you how it sounds when it's done. We can hit it against our hands, we can hit it against our legs, we can shake it. So you can play with all sorts of different ways to do the syllables. You could say, shake out the syllables. We can tap them out. We can do all sorts of things to count out syllables, just like with our shaker. It's just giving us different options, making it fun. We want kids to love learning. So those are all of the different activities I have for this month for phonological awareness. Make sure you watch the next video in this playlist to learn different reading and singing rhyme strategies to help build phonological awareness with your child during your usual read together time.